Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Big shout out to all the iTrack fan, man, tapping in like you always do. If this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join the iTrack fam, and let's just jump right into it.
When I was about 20 years old, me and my friend Kirsten were driving, and we saw a sign that said like 246 miles to San Francisco, and we jokingly were like, oh, should we say screw it, just go San Francisco instead? And we were laughing, kept driving for a little bit. Then all of a sudden, it felt like a downed power line. I don't know how to explain it. Like there was this energy, this very crackly sort of energy. We were like, what just happened? What was that? And we were both looking at each other like, you felt that, right? What just happened? So we keep driving, totally like freaked out by the energy we just felt. And then maybe like 5 minutes down the road, we passed the exact same sign. It says 246 miles to San Francisco. And we're like, no, we passed that. We drove past it. What's going on? We were freaking out. When I got back to my house, I had gotten out of the shower and I was putting like lotion on, and I felt something sharp in my lower back. And I look, and there's literally a black triangle piece in my lower back. Years later, I found this guy who used to be a photographer for the Rolling Stone magazine, and he owned this restaurant, and I was telling the guys about this missing piece of time, and they're like, oh my god, wait, you have to meet this guy. And they bring him out of the kitchen, and he's like has a newspaper that he puts out quarterly, and it's all about UFOs and abductions, and he talks about the placement of chips, and it's literally the exact same spot.
Wow.
There were like 3 locations that they're normally in, and one was there.
There it is.
I've gone to doctors and they're like, I don't know what it is, but
You have to show me. I want to see.
Yeah.
Jeez, they're getting so slick with abductions now, you don't even realize when you're gone. But you know what? I guess that's how most people would prefer it.
Leonardo DiCaprio did horrible things during certain parties with Diddy. The photo that just leaked is going to cause Leonardo's biggest downfall. This photo proves even more that he was involved in the P. Diddy affair. Diddy wasn't smart. He filmed all his parties at home. So after his arrest, a lot of photos and videos leaked, including the one with Leonardo and Diddy, where they're seen with several people in a bed doing something strange. The worst part is that Leonardo DiCaprio is hiding now. He left the United States more than 6 months ago and is living quietly in Italy and France. Even I'm disgusted. He's an incredible actor, but now we see his true face. Diddy said that Leonardo DiCaprio was his favorite guest at the freak-offs, especially since he never missed a party. So we can only imagine the horrors Leonardo may have committed during those nights. The files that have come out will destroy his career, that's for sure. It's only a matter of time. We thought he was untouchable, but this photo is proof that no one escapes the truth, not even the biggest stars. Soon, everyone will see Leonardo's true face, and there won't be any roles left for him in Hollywood.
Leo, tell me this isn't true. Don't let me find out you were like the top freak at these freak-offs now.
Everyone has parasites in their body. So if you've eaten within the past week, touched an animal, sat on a toilet seat, taken a shower, or swam in a body of water, even if you've touched another human being, you likely have parasites. And because testing to find parasites is inconclusive, here is how to know you're infected with them. If you have unexplained headaches or migraines, any type of brain fog or fatigue, if you have anxiety or depression, do you wake up in the middle of the night? Do you grind your teeth? If you're tired upon waking in the morning, if you have any type of skin issue, or if your skin feels like it's crawling, you likely have parasites. Do you have bloating or pain in your abdomen? How about constipation, issues with diarrhea? If you have pain in your joints or muscles, or if you have issues with yeast infections or SIBO, you very likely have parasitic infections. These are all warning signs within your body. And here is the most important thing to consider about these parasites. They cannot thrive in a toxic body. So if you're having any of these types of symptoms, you must understand why your body is supporting them and how to get rid of them through safe and effective drainage detoxification.
I'm pretty sure he meant to say they can't thrive in healthy bodies. And I'm pretty sure they thrive in toxic bodies. But either way it goes, nobody's safe.
Are out of the simulation, and that is the worst nightmare. For reasons I'll come to, they are feeding off low vibrational human emotional and mental energy, so they need to keep us here. And that's why you have the trap of karma and you have the trick of the fake heaven and the fake afterlife realm, the astral, because it's to keep you there so they can keep bringing you back, telling you you've got to learn lessons to evolve into the human world, where overwhelmingly this, what's called by many people now loosh, this low vibrational human energy, is generated through all the challenges that people have and all the wars and all the things that happen and all the suffering and all the depression and all the anxiety and all the fear.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So,
Literally the same people?
literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. You know, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
Can't make this up. I mean, this is what happened in cave number 1, the very first cave, the very first vase, one of the first scrolls that was recovered is a scroll that goes by the name of the War Scroll, W-A-R, the War Scroll. And it was a relatively intact scroll, about 19 columns, if I recall correctly. And it details in just tremendous and vivid language a battle that began a long time ago and is playing out in our lives today. And this is where the continuity comes in. And the exact words from that scroll. This is a battle, an ancient battle between what is called the sons of darkness and the sons of light. When we talk about the sons of darkness and the sons of light, it's not all male. They weren't working with gender at that time the way that we are today. So this is about humans. It's about humankind fighting a battle between good and evil, and the way that that battle plays out. And the scroll describes 7 battles that will play out over time. 3 are won by the sons of darkness, 3 are won by the sons of light. That's 6.
Listen to this. It's going to blow your mind.
Explain to you how the system works. So the first thing is they want us to be in jobs, J-O-Bs, because there they can transduce our most valuable resource, which is our time on the planet. Our effort, but our time on the planet. They can take that non-renewable resource, by the way, and transduce it into a debt instrument. Federal Reserve notes. Things they're not actually worth nothing. They're actually debt instruments. They're IOUs. And the rate of exchange for our time is so low, such that they can make a great deal of profit off of leveraging our time so that the companies make money and we make very little for what our time is really worth. Then, do they pay you your full measure? No. They take half of it out as withholding on taxes that are unconstitutionally levied against us to take away even more of that labor transduced into worthless units, only to return it over a year later after inflation has made it even less valuable. Then we spend what's left and have to pay an additional sales tax, 7 to 8, 9, 10%. And one of my favorites is that even before we get those dollars, they take our money and put it aside for retirement in an IRA or a 401k. And we think that someday in the future, the IRS will honor its word and that we'll get that money back without tax. And the IRS has stated plainly that they'll change those rules on a whim, even though they said they can't be changed. Even if they did honor their word, by the time you get it back, it won't have even made up the value that inflation was degrading it in the first place, and you've lost money. You might as well have just taken the tax hit. And then the pièce de résistance is that media cons us into thinking that we can have the riches of avarice by putting what's left of our money, after all the expenses and taxes, into a market that is designed to take our money and recycle it. And the best part about that is that we can't really deduct those losses more than $3,000 a year, and we will take up to 40% tax hit on the capital gains. Oh yes, and the more money you make, the more it's taxed.
Follow for more.
The third eye is a mechanism your soul uses to see and interact with the spirit realm while inhabiting a human vessel. Ancient knowledge about the third eye has been kept secret for ages. There are two realms, the material world and the spirit realm. With your two physical eyes, you can see and interact with the material world, while your third eye grants you the ability to see and interact with the spirit realm. Ancient writings by enlightened ancestors that taught how to use your third eye were seized and hidden from the masses. However, meditation practices exist that stimulate your third eye, temporarily unlocking your ability to see into the spirit realm. One effective practice is called the floating orb third eye meditation. Recently, hundreds of people on TikTok reported that seconds after completing this meditation, they witnessed a color-changing 3D floating orb or flame that was visible only to their third eye. The color of the orb reflects your energy or aura, matching your most dominant chakra. The orb appears and immediately begins to float freely around your room. With practice, you can control its movement and color using your emotions and intent. You can obtain the video teaching how to perform the floating orb third eye meditation beneath our profile. If you don't see the floating orb after completing the meditation, it could indicate that your third eye may not be functioning well due to energetic blockages and dairy calcification around the pineal gland. Regularly practicing this meditation can help activate and strengthen it. The earthly realm is much more magical than one could ever imagine.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I know it can only be the people on TikTok that have experienced colorful orbs flying in their room. If you've managed to reach that level, let me know in the comments, man, and maybe give me some tips too, because I haven't managed to reach that.
Growth happens when you stop trying to change others and instead let their actions help you decide what to do. It means reaching a point where you no longer feel the need to guide everyone's behavior. You realize that people reveal who they are by what they do, not by what they say they will do. You stop feeling like a victim of how others act and take control of your own life. You make choices based on what is real, not just on what you wish for. Your life is your responsibility, and you have the power to choose who and what to let into it.
J-Lo's ex-husband claims that J-Lo sacrificed chickens for Santeria ritual.
But it's crazy. I figured out the mark of the beast, but I'm going to have to teach you computer science in order to explain it. The first thing I'll say is everyone's wrong. I don't think anyone's ever seen this before. When I say I figured it out, I feel like God gave it to me.
J-Lo's ex-husband claims that J-Lo sacrificed chickens for Santeria rituals. Oh, Johnny Noah married Lopez in February of 1997. When they were desperate to save their marriage, he visited an LA home of a Santeria guru with J-Lo. This is what he was saying. Noah said, quote, "We participated together in sacrifices of chickens and hens, and in one occasion, I was present when they were cleansing Jennifer with the blood of a hen. The hen's blood was poured over Jennifer until she was covered in it," Noah said. "Then she was bathed in holy water to wash away the blood, and herbs were passed over her body. Meanwhile, the godmother was asking the gods to cleanse Jennifer and save our marriage," he said. Noah testified that Lopez, quote, "was doing voodoo when we weren't married. She was doing bad things to a lot of people when we were friends. And I knew all this time because we did personally, me and her, to this particular lady." Noah added that Lopez did voodoo and, quote, "all this religious bullshit," unquote, to former lovers, including Sean Puffy Combs. She's been accused of doing voodoo on her ex-boyfriends, dude. Ben Affleck, Sean Diddy Combs, this Ojani guy.
It would make sense because they all look drained and miserable, like they've had the life sucked out of them.
That's why you got to make sure you know who you're dealing with. I mean, it seems like he knew who he was dealing with, but he decided to join in and do it with her. So I don't really have too much sympathy for the guy, but at least now we all know.
Yep, they are watching us right now, and if you see this on the ground, it's a warning that you and your child need to run immediately. People were terrified after LA was set on red alert after a man exposed that he had been working in a Starbucks located in a secret underground tunnel that is used by the top 1%ers to allow them to go anywhere much faster and avoid traffic, with access and exit points near major places like LAX, Dodger Stadium, and more. With even a report from the LA Times saying that a man named Warren Schufelt created a radio x-ray that was able to uncover a series of elaborate tunnels in downtown LA in the exact same location, just like what the former Starbucks employee mentioned. And these tunnels are being uncovered as we speak throughout the country. It gets creepier as people even mention noticing these eerie entrances lately under middle schools and high schools, and in the same schools that are reporting missing children. Known as the Actor Bond Tunnel, however, as interesting as this could be, tunnels used like this would be very unlikely.
Cut the cap. Almost had me scared. Almost had me a little worried out here.
Maybe this is the only thing left to see, because look, the Chinese have created a machine that, in the coming times, no one will be able to take photos of himself, because as soon as these people go inside this machine scans people from all four sides in full detail. Then, after a short while, it creates an exact replica, just like you were inside the machine as a souvenir. It creates a 3D model in the same way and gives it to you.
That's the whole thing. They got the right to their opinion. I got the right to my opinion. You understand what I'm saying? We all have the rights to our opinions, but so many people will lose their jobs, lose their careers for taking the steps that we took. You know, we went down for like a year and a half. You know, people think that I got, you know, kicked out of Adidas for the tweet. We were having problems before. They were stealing my designs. They still trying to sue me. It's like, get right. Right. No, get right, be honest. Y'all gonna send me $100 million a year, then say that I misallocated the marketing. I was the marketing. Look at where y'all at now. Look at where we at right now. Black people can't be anti-Semitic. We are Jew.
Ain't no way everyone here is a real person. Life is a simulation and a legitimate professor has proved it. James Gates, a theoretical physicist at MIT with 2 bachelor degrees and a PhD, found literal computer code embedded in the most fundamental building blocks of reality, called strings. Now, string theory is a tough one, but I'm gonna break it down for you in a way that an 11-year-old will understand. So if you don't get this, hey, go back to grade 5, bruh. Alright, so we got my boy Einstein's theory of general relativity, which is basically just a theory of everything big. Planets, gravity, the universe, all the way back to the Big Bang. Then we got the new kid in town, quantum physics. This is the theory of everything small, like particles, atoms, and molecules, where the general laws of physics, like gravity, don't apply anymore. The same is true the other way around. Quantum laws don't apply to regular-sized physics. So we got general relativity, everything big, and quantum physics, everything small. Like, yo, dig. But both of these realms have the same parent, the Big Bang, at which point everything that is now big used to be small. If the small can become big, then quantum and general relativity need some sort of theory that can unify them. That is string theory. What happens to the big when it's small? What happens when you zoom into an atom? You see protons and neutrons in the center with electrons all around it. Now, what about inside a neutron? Even smaller particles called quarks. So how deep does the scale go? Conventional science will tell you there's nothing inside these quarks. But string theory suggests there's a tiny filament or a string of pure energy that exists inside of them. And just like the string of a guitar vibrates and creates different sound based on its shape and tension, the strings in string theory vibrate. But instead of sound, they produce matter in the form of particles. This completely changes the way you look at the world. Every particle in the universe is just a string vibrating at a different frequency, and every vibrational pattern has its own associated particles. So if you break anything down far enough, we're all just energy vibrating at differing wavelengths to form matter. Although it's still just a theory, this would link general relativity to the quantum realm and form what is known as the theory of everything. Okay, yeah, cool. Now where is this computer code found? When Dr. James Gates took a look at a set of equations derived from string theory, he found a binary code, error-correcting code used for compressing data on a computer. A sequence of ones and zeros, the same code that is used by popular search engines, which, according to him, who has a PhD in theoretical physics from MIT, doesn't just resemble computer code, it literally is computer code. Meaning, if we break matter and energy down far enough, we eventually find compressing computer code etched into the very fabric of reality. So, who wrote this code? Are we living in a simulation?
This is what we call healing lines. If you have little lines under your little finger, which is the amount of mercury, if you see them here, this means you should be in a profession that heals people. So if you're a psychologist, you're a nurse or a doctor. If you have these lines, that's the profession you would pick. Or even friends and family would come to you for advice because you are a good healer. You would give them good advice.
Oh my God! What is that?
I've been drinking this for a while, and it's like not that full anymore. And I was like, why is all of this still showing? What is happening?
The chick at the end that wanted to act like her drink just wasn't disappearing. We know you had two lids and you put a little bit of that drink in between the lids. Stop the cap.
JayZ theory.
About what?
How the interview that got leaked and she exposed her signing, right? So
I heard about this.
So young Rihanna,
Yeah.
she was getting interviewed by someone and she was like, "Oh, how was like the signing process to Rock Nation?" And then Rihanna was like, "Oh yeah, they told me that they don't sign songs, they sign artists. And there's only two ways that this can go." JayZ said this to Rihanna. There's only two ways this can go. You can either sign this contract and leave through the door, or you can leave through the window. And by the way, we're on the 29th floor.
Crazy.
Yeah, but that's
He really said that shit. He dead ass, like, he claims it and he's proud of it.
I know.
At the time, fam.
And it was crazy because in the video, everybody in the back, when she said that, Rihanna said that, laughing. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like a threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were proud of it.
Yeah,
Like,
but I understand, like, when somebody like puts their trauma on you, like, that's a reaction. Like, you laugh.
They said they started that meeting at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
and it ended at like 12 a.m.
Yeah. So why is
that whole time they were
why
just
is
stuck in that room?
17-year-old Rihanna in a room at 3 a.m. with these people?
Have you ever listened to a Diddy song backwards?
And I'm just in it.
Okay.
And it's my never wish it. It's your world and I'm just in it. And it's my never wish it. And it's my never wish it.
Is it possible that these musical artists are leaving backwards messages for the occult, satanic worshipers, as well as PDF files? Now you remember Baby One More Time, right? Britney Spears was 16 years old. Let's listen to this backwards. 16. There's honestly so many of these that this video could go on forever. Have you ever heard Another One Bites the Dust in reverse? And we all know if you rearrange the letters for Santa, you also will get Satan. And then I'll leave you with the creepiest one that I found. Yeah, my friend suggested subliminal messaging as a content topic. So I'm like, let me look at music. Let's start with music. I have found so many, you guys. This stuff is so creepy. Let me know what you think. And of course, this is only for entertainment purposes.
I'm gonna need her to pick some more unassuming people. Everybody she played right now, we kind of see it just without playing the music backwards that these people got some stuff going on. I'd be interested in listening into some other people, like play the Backstreet Boys backwards. Let's see what they had going on. You know what I mean?
The whole Earth is going to go through an activation where we will have powers similar to superheroes. This is why superhero films got so popular. They're prophetic of what's going to be available to us. So they've had the Roswell stuff going back since 1947. They've had over 75 years to develop this into technology. They've had in-person interaction with ETs. And there's also evil extraterrestrials like reptilians and greys, insectoids, and certain types of tall white-skinned humans. And that agenda is actually a planetary conquering agenda. They want to come to a planet, and it turns out that the basic thing that these evil beings want is to create Satanism. And this is one of the most fascinating things I only learned in 2021 from new briefings, that anywhere these beings go, any planet they go in our galaxy, they're going to create pentagrams, they're going to create ritual magic, they're going to have people wear robes, they're going to have people wearing face masks, burning candles, chanting to this very real artificial intelligence that we think of as Satan. It actually does exist. There is a satanic AI that has become essentially like a soul. It's got its own unique abilities, and it can appear as a human being, which apparently it does in a base in Antarctica called Lucifer's Palace. If you go in there, it's very amazing. There's no other building like it on Earth. You really feel that this would be the entity that controls the planet, and this being will consolidate into a human form and appear that way in front of you. So what I'm saying is that your typical Aleister Crowley type of Satanism, where there is, all these things I mentioned, the robes, the candles, the chanting, the masks, pentagram, and of course the sacrifice. That's the most disgusting part about it, is that you're committing the most heinous atrocity imaginable. But if you do it right, you apparently see, there's some people, not everybody, if you have, I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe younger people see it more easily, but there's a hallucination effect that occurs. They're imbibing certain types of drugs in these ceremonies, and you hallucinate something that is very real, which is this demonic creature that appears. And so you can go back and look at the foundation of NASA, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or Jack Parsons Laboratory. Jack Parsons was working with Aleister Crowley and the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, and they did something called the Babylon Working, where they summoned this being. And so inside your magic circle that you draw, if you do it right, you're going to see this creature show up. And it's visible to you. And they can't talk, but they can make these horrific noises that sound like a screeching animal. And they come in and they do atrocities. They do atrocities on the victim that you prepared for them. That's why it's called an offering. You offer them a victim, and they then terminate that individual. So this is a weird magic trick. It's something we're all going to have to deal with pretty soon, because the military is going to hit us with this on a mass level. We're all going to have to deal with the fact that the devil is real, Satan is real, demons are real. If you do this stuff, which again, these extraterrestrial aliens are bringing this to every planet they can, and it's always the same. It's the pentagram, it's the mask, it's the candles, it's the chanting, it's the robes, it's mind control. Another really weird thing about this is there's actually probably millions of people just in America who went through this stuff as children, and they have absolutely no memory of it at all. Why? Because the hypnosis system they use, colloquially called MK Ultra, mind control, control with a K, that's a German form of saying it, it works really well. And if you get bumped out of the group because you didn't perform properly, like for example, if you start screaming and crying during these ceremonies, you can hurt the demon. The demon cannot do what it needs to do unless everybody is stoical and keeps looking at it. You have to not look away, and you have to not scream, and you have to not cry. If somebody starts crying, somebody starts screaming, the demon can get very badly hurt. So you have to find people who are willing to do that. So most of the time, the way that people end up getting kicked out is that they have emotional breakdowns and they start crying and they hurt the demon and then they get kicked out. Well, guess what? You're all zipped up. You never remember anything. But when you were a child, you get hypnotized, you get brought into these things, they give you amnesic drugs, you can't remember what happened to you, but yet you're always traumatized. Your whole life has various aspects of trauma associated with it. People in the inside Area 51 community were dazzled when I came out with my first book here, which again is right behind me, Sourcefield Investigations, New York Times bestseller. Came out, it had, we sold very well. It was pretty amazing. You don't really make much money writing books, but it was still amazing. Led to me getting on Ancient Aliens, gave me credibility, has over 1,000 academic references. That's very hard to do. PhD dissertation is typically 120 to 150 references. That book has over 1,000 academic references in it. And you can go read it for yourself, you can go look it up. That's why my work stands on very solid ground. This is not snake oil, this is not con artist. This is bona fide advanced research that caught the attention of Uncle. And that would be your Area 51 community.
Now, this is going to sound strange, but I for sure remember Orlando Brown talking about that very topic. And he said that to the T. He said people were definitely hypnotized. And that's what MK Ultra was for. As much discredit as I would like to give Orlando, I do remember that. You know what I mean? Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button and join the iTrack fam, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.